All right. Shane So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, man, for having me. Yeah.
So, Shane owns a hell of a lot of real estate. What, So Capital Group?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our acquisition group.
Acquisition group.
Yeah, we
What
just
are
started
buying?
that. We're buying single family, multifamily, commercial, trying to do triple net lease conversions. We're trying to get into hotels,
Buying
we got some
everything.
billboards. We're trying to do everything. Except we haven't done development yet, but I'd like to. I just don't know enough about it yet.
What kind of development? Like commercial development?
Yeah, and I thought it'd be cool to build multifamily in the townhouse rental, like townhouse communities to rent out.
Yeah.
Thought that'd be kind of cool.
Okay. That's sweet. You got into real estate, I think you said like right around 30, right?
Yeah, I was a month from turning 30. That's when I got my first one.
You said that you had like a really weird process where you were like getting real close to pulling the trigger on like 2 dozen different properties. You kept backing out and then finally you just bit the bullet.
How old are you, man?
27.
Okay, so when I was 25, I wanted to get into real estate. And I probably made every realtor upset with me, okay? For 5 years, man, I got houses under contract, looked at properties, and I'd always call and cancel during due diligence for 4 or 5 years.
What, was there anything in particular? You just get cold feet and you're like...
I was just afraid. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a mentor.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to buy something. I knew how to look at properties, negotiate, get it under contract. And then I just, oh man, now I got to get a loan. Now I got to do this, that, whatever. And I just didn't know what I was doing. So I'd always cancel, man. What would you do, man, if someone just got like 20 properties under contract and cancel, man? You'd be over, right?
Bro, I would be so mad. Dude, it's bad enough when you show a bunch of properties to people and then it's like, we've looked at 35 and you haven't made an offer on one of them. Like that's like the rarity and like, screen people better. But no, it's, I'd be at my wit's end.
So, some were like 30 minutes, an hour away too. And some were good deals. I looked back on some of them and said, because there's a duplex for 60 grand.
Jesus.
And I got it under contract. It was completely remodeled. It's probably worth like $200,000-$300,000 now. But it was just, I was afraid to pull the trigger on a $60,000 duplex. Just crazy. I just didn't know what I was doing.
How many of these do you think you put under contract and bailed on? Like just spitballing.
In the 5, I'm going to say 30, 35, man. When I say I'd signed a lot of contracts and I'd always cancel and get you're
wiring the money
back.
too. You're just like, you're friends with the banker. You're like, hey, look, here's this $3,000 in earnest money. Go ahead, schedule it to send back in 3 days.
Yeah.
So most of them, you're getting them under contract. You're getting scared. What was like the tipping point where you're like, all right, screw this, to hell with it. I'm going to actually pull the trigger on this thing.
Honestly, I guess, okay, so what would always happen is I'd be excited and say, oh no, I'm going to do it this time, right? And I'd find the deal. I'd negotiate it. They would come down, accept it, because this is 2017. Still wasn't like crazy, right?
They started in 2017?
Well, no, that's when I got my first property. It was in 2007. But prior to that, like even down to 2012, 2013, because for 4 or 5 years, I was looking at these things, right? And man, there were properties for 30 grand. They're probably worth 200-300 now. It's just the market was really low. So I guess every time I would get it under contract, these things would go through my head. What if 2008, 2010 happens again?
Yeah.
What the condition? I don't know what I'm looking at. Will the bank even give me financing? I'm just like 25 years old. I own karate schools, at that time. Why would they give me the loan to get it? And I have no experience. I probably had enough to maybe do a little bit of the down payment, but I guess I just always went to phase 1 and never went to 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because I was just too afraid to pull the trigger. I think it was just fear.
Okay.
And I didn't have anyone to help me, no mentors.
Yeah. So you're just like out in the deep end by yourself, like, all right, we're going to figure this out, trial by fire.
Yeah. And honestly, I would have never bought if it wasn't for my friend Edwin Garcia. He was the last agent to show me a house. It was probably like a $90,000 home. We got it under contract for $45,000. And then I called him to cancel. Yeah. I called him to cancel. And he said, Shane, just do it. My dad will do all the repairs. Just do it. And I was like, oh, man, now I was terrified. I remember even right now, I feel the stress I felt at that moment. Yeah. And I called a buddy. His name is Zoran.
Okay.
He sent the money to pay for the house.
Okay.
And I used 20 grand worth of credit cards to fix the home. Jeez. So we had 65,000. We sold it for 124,000. Yeah. But it took 8 months. I was terrified. We hired a contractor. He bailed. Another contractor came in and finished the work.
Yeah.
And after that, I said, okay, I guess now that I had gone through the whole process, I felt a lot better about it. And then from then I just started buying.
Got the first one out of your system.
That first one was the hardest. Yeah. 5 years in the going,
Good God. So 5 years to do the first one. And then how quickly does it scale from, it takes you 5 years to do the first. And then you do one and you're like, oh, damn, I made what? Like probably walked away with 40.
Yeah. But then I split with my buddy Zoran. So I walked away with like 20-ish thousand, especially after taxes. So,
yeah. Okay.
No. So so I guess to complete the story, January is when we bought the home. I turned 30 in February. During that entire process until we sold it in August, I think it was August when we sold it. By May, I was stressed out because January we bought it. We had a contractor come in. He bailed.
Yeah.
We had to get someone else. Through the whole time, I'm like, man, what if the housing market collapses again? What if it's not worth 90? Because I thought we were going to sell it for 90. Ended up selling for more. But I was like, oh, stressed. So I was just looking on YouTube one day, just saying, there's got to be a different way to do real estate. Yeah. And this old man appeared on YouTube, not professional at all. You could barely hear him, echo in the room. I can't even find the video today, actually. Okay. But he talked about talk to a seller. It's easy. Just talk to him, get it under contract, get terms, owner financing, buy it with no money, and then you can rent it or lease out. And then you don't have to keep buying a home and selling it. Because, fix and flip, you have to buy, sell, and you just repeat over and over again. What I wanted was cash flow that just came in every month to help me, live my life, hopefully become financially free, because I'm a taekwondo school owner at this time, which I love taekwondo, but, I just wanted to have something for retirement. So from January to August, I started learning that in May, sold in August, and then I just hit it really hard. I sat down in a park for my first time and I did my first call, talked to a seller. I talked to him, said, give me a little information on the property. Yeah. I went to the property. She sold it to me with terms. And I got 60 homes from August to December.
You got 60 from August until December. Mm-hmm. So it takes 5 years to do number one, and then you do 60 in 2 months.
Yeah, but technically that's 60 in 5 years, technically, to get the start. But yeah. So I just kind of went crazy on it. I got obsessed about it. So
okay.
Yeah, and it was a lot easier. It's harder to get terms from some sellers, but if you it's all in numbers. If you talk to like 500 sellers, you'll get a few, and that's just what happened.
You just look at it as like a pure numbers game. It's funny. I was talking to my sister because I was telling my sister we were going to be talking about this, and I told her we were going to talk about creative financing, and she was like, "Oh my God, the number of people that hit me up asking for creative financing and have no idea what the hell they're talking about with it, and they just call me up and basically like verbally accost me when I'm like, look, I just don't think that my seller's particularly interested in this." What's like the way that you approached it where you were able to get people that were, one, it's a numbers game, but two, in terms of getting people that are more receptive, there's got to be something that you're picking up on doing 60 of these things in 2 months.
Yeah. So what I did is the easiest ones were actually talking to investors.
Yeah.
So if I have a friend that has a property that they're not enjoying, and you bought any
don't look
friend,
at me like that.
Right?
Don't look at me like that.
But investors understand, like usually an investor bought it for cash flow.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want the tax benefits and the cash flow.
Yeah.
So when I talk to them, I say, look, I'll give you this price. You get this cash flow. I just want the upside. And you can, Pace Morby, he's a real estate guy that does creative stuff.
Yeah.
He says something really good. He goes, I want to upgrade you from landlord to banker.
Okay.
I love that. That's what we say now. Back in the day, so I'll tell you about the first deal I got then.
Okay.
There was a lady, she was going through an eviction.
Okay.
And I called her and I said, hey, I'm interested in this home. I'm buying in this area. This is my first creative one, actually. I said, I'm buying in this area. I saw your home. I would like to maybe talk to you about buying it. And she said, well, it'll be available on Friday. We have someone moving out, which ended up being an eviction. So I met with her on Saturday. And when I got there to the home, the grass was, pretty high.
Yeah.
Had garbage outside. A tenant, had just
Typical
gotten evicted.
Bad eviction. Yeah.
Yeah. The roof was a little old. We walked inside the home. It's, full of junk. The floor was tilted in the kitchen, so it needed a lot of repairs.
Yeah.
And I said, man, what would you like for this home? And it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on the corner, biggest house actually in the little subdivision there.
Yeah.
And she said, I'd like to have $95,000. And I said, okay. Well, as we walked through the home, can you just tell me a little bit about it? So when we walked through, I just kind of made, like, I never bash anyone's home. Even then I didn't, because I'm a more introverted person, of course. But when we're walking, I'm like, oh, and, kind of checking things out. And I said, well, if I was to buy it as is, like, what do you really need? She goes, I could do 85.
Yeah.
I said, okay. We walked outside. We looked at the roof. It needed some work. Well, it didn't need some work, but it was older. The air conditioner was kind of old too, and there's just junk. We walked back in, and it kind of smelled in the home. And now I still use this to this day. I always go to the dirtiest room in the home when I negotiate, by the way. But, in this case, I did it, Walked in, it still smelled, and I said, before I give you an offer and go step outside and kind of, maybe call my partner or something, what is really what you need? And she looked and she said, 45. So she went from 95 to 85 to 45.
Good
okay.
God.
This is my first time where I don't know what I'm doing, by the way. Step outside and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to think of some terms like that old man said,
Yeah.
And I said, okay, if I take 45,000 and divide it over this amount of months, what is that monthly payment?
Yeah.
In my head, I thought of that. So I just, okay, that's all the term I knew. I really didn't know much, Walked back in and I said, let me ask you a question. What was you renting this house for? She said, I was renting it for $750 a month. That's what she was renting the house for.
Yeah.
Okay. In that condition. And I said, well, how about this? I don't know if a bank will give a loan on this type of home with the roof in the condition that we saw. The house is a great home. I really want it. But look, like, we were in the kitchen, like the floor is kind of
bouncing
sagging.
on the
I don't know what, something happened in the corner there. And I said, if I take it in as is condition, can I just pay you monthly payments over, I forget if it was 15 years, 20, whatever the time frame. Ended up, she agreed to $286 a month and 67 cents, principal only payments, okay? And I would cash her out after 3 to 5 years. My pitch was this: can I pay you the monthly payments? I'll come in and get what needs to get fixed. I'll do the roof, fix the flooring. I'll get it up to HUD standards where a bank will give us the loan.
Yeah.
And then in the future, I'll cash you out as long as you don't give me a prepayment penalty. And she agreed. So I got it under contract for $45, paying $286, and I think it was like 67 cents. Okay. I had 30 days to close.
Was that 286? Was that her mortgage too?
Oh, it was free and clear. She owned it
free and clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what I did is when it was under contract, I had 30 days. I put it on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. No, Facebook and Craigslist. I don't think Marketplace existed. I think I found someone off of Craigslist though. They called me, and the old man on that video said you need to lease with an option to buy. So someone pays you a kind of like a down payment, but it's really an option fee for the option to buy it for a set price, and they'll lease it. Okay. I put it on Craigslist. Someone agreed to pay me $7,000 down and pay me $1,000 a month. And I told them I sold it for $115,000.
Did you put any work into it?
No. So that's what I told them. I said, this house is worth $130. I'll sell it to you for $115. You take it in as is condition and you fix it. So they paid me $7,000 as an option. The next month, I closed using, because only $686 is what it was for a closing cost. So I paid that out of the $7,000. So I made the rest. And then the next month they paid me $1,000. I paid her $286.67. So
your cash flow instead of something bucks a month. Yeah,
and then they started working and fixed and cleaned it. The thing is they disappeared after 6 months. That tenant, but I tried because I was giving them an opportunity to own the home eventually. They disappeared. So 6 months later, I went through the whole eviction process, even though no one was there, just like they abandoned.
Yeah.
And I got to sell it for $135,000, and someone paid me $15,000 down, and they paid me $1,200 a month. So it actually helped me. So I made $15,000 plus $6,200 ish after I paid closing, and in the end, I was bringing in $1,200 and paying out $286.
What do you think the biggest difference is? So is the difference between what you're able to pick up posting this thing on the market versus what she's able to pick up? Is it just a knowledge gap, do you think?
I think so. I don't remember her exact story of what it was, but she was a typical lady who's just, honestly, she wasn't old. She was a young lady. Like, she was in mid-60s. She was in the prime of her life. It's just, I guess you expect, I can buy this. It's going to help me on my retirement. It's going to be easy. I don't have to deal with nothing. And some of those people tend to have the rent really low. They never change it. They take too long to do the eviction. They don't fix anything clearly.
Yeah.
But in this case, I was able to come in and help her. Actually, she thanked me and tried to sell me other homes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that was my first deal. Yeah. So I just repeated that over and over again.
Because you're getting into them with essentially no money down. You're getting into them just saying, hey, look, I'll eat your, we'll figure out whatever the payments are. I'll eat your payment, and then I'll just give me control of the home and let me go do my thing.
Yeah. So now here's one that came up. And sorry, I'm
talking
too much, man. But let's just say you have no money.
Yeah.
In that case, I really didn't have too much money. I just closed on that house. I had some, but it's still, I was nervous, But let's just say you have no money, no credit, no cash or anything, okay?
You've got nothing to your name and you want to get into real estate.
Exactly. So it puts you into a mode where you say, well, I can't do it. You can't say that. You have to say, how can I do it?
Yeah.
So let's just say, and let me think of a real deal that I did. There was a house, it was on a golf course, okay? And it was above what I had just done. You have to think, I had done 2 homes for 45 grand, one flip, one creative. One of these was a house on a golf course. They owed $285,000. Okay. They wanted to sell it for $250 or something. And we negotiated down to the point where they said, we will let you buy this subject to, which is another creative method, kind of like owner finance. You're just taking over their pre-existing loan.
Yeah.
But they wanted $20,000 down.
I was going to sneeze.
Sorry
about that.
That's all right. Yeah, so they wanted $20,000 down.
Okay.
So I got it under contract. They were supposed to get 20 down. I'm supposed to take over the loan of $285,000.
Yeah.
And what I did is, while it's under contract, I found someone to bring me $50,000 down, in which I was able to keep the difference.
Okay.
Because so when I have someone give an option, they're paying $50 into escrow. I can use 20 of that to pay the down payment, and then I get to keep the 30. So even if you have no money, you can be creative. So in that example with this lady, $45,000, let's just say she says she wanted $10,000 down. Say, fine, get it under contract. When you're looking for a tenant buyer, you find someone to give you $10,000 or more so that you can pay that out and keep the difference.
Interesting.
So don't be afraid if someone says that they want you to pay money down, is what I'm saying, I guess.
So what are all the different ways that you like to go about trying to get creatively finance deals? Obviously, you mentioned subject to, you mentioned seller financing. What are the different ways that you've gone about getting these deals? What's your preferred way to structure them? I mean,
the best way is if they own the property free and clear and you can buy it and they'll seller finance it. So if they owe $100,000, they want to sell it for $100,000. That the perfect case is you pay nothing down and they seller finance you $100,000 and you can pay, the minimum amount, principal only payments, no interest. That'd be like the best case scenario.
Yeah. How often does that happen? Is that a rarity?
Well, I don't know, man. We just did. We've done 19 deals since October that the houses were free and clear. There were tired landlords, and we were able to buy with little to no money down.
Okay.
We bought a house for $430,000. The seller did want $30,000.
Okay.
We found a tenant buyer, and they gave us $30,000 down. So we came out closing costs. So we're probably out like $2-3 grand. But now we got this $430,000 home, which we sold for I think $490,000.
Okay.
So they're paying us $2,600 a month. The tenant buyers, our monthly payment is principal only $1,350.
Jesus Christ.
We got 4 of those from the same owner. You see.
I don't know if this is giving away the sauce. How are you finding these people? If you don't want to give that up, that's fine.
No,
how
believe
are you
it. Okay, so a lot of real estate gurus say don't go on Zillow and all. We got that one off of Zillow. And when we made it, and it was actually a friend named Colin White. He works.
Yeah, I know Colin.
Right?
Yeah.
He found that one off of Zillow.
Interesting.
And what it is the seller was just an older guy. It was an Asian guy with a stutter, and he didn't speak good English. So it was real hard to understand him. He had it on the market a long time, and in the description, he said he would owner finance.
So it's literally sitting out there. He's broadcasting to the world, hey, look, I'll finance it to you.
Yeah, that one's easy. The other thing is this is what we do. This is the best one, is if you go to the courthouse and ask the courthouse for the current dispossessories, which is the current evictions going on right now.
Yeah.
You can talk to sometimes some courthouses actually give the landlord's number.
Really?
Some don't. But if they don't have the number, you can skip trace them, right? Yeah. But that's if it gives the number, yeah, just call them. And some of these guys will say, yeah, I've got this one home. I'm going through an eviction. We'll say, well, look, we're willing to buy it. Do you have any others? And you can buy more.
Yeah.
And usually, think about what a landlord's wanting. They're already okay with taking a monthly payment.
Yeah. That's what they got into it for.
So why not just give them a monthly payment, but we're buying it at the same time? Show them how they're making money if they are charging interest, because if they're selling it for $100,000, they're actually making 180 with interest, right?
Yeah.
And they have no liability because the deed is not in their name anymore, right? They don't have to do repairs, maintenance. They don't have to pay taxes. They don't do insurance. It's good. In fact, we do that. Sellers, how we buy is how we sell. We sell to investors too.
Yeah.
Seller finance, owner, or master lease or lease options. Yeah, same thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's like a really, really quick way to be able to scale, because I feel like most people, probably the problem they run into is like, okay, cool, I want to get into real estate. I don't have enough capital. I don't have or I have enough capital to go out and pick up a couple of these things, but not enough. So, it seems to me it turns into a volume play very quickly because you're putting such little money down. It's like now you can start to get to some sort of economy of scale.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the first year I did 60, then we did 100. I did 180 the second year, and then it just kind of goes from there. Then we got into multifamily. My first apartment complex was $2.5 million, 44 units, no money down. Well, I did have to pay $8,000 in closing because it's a bigger deal. Because
still for $2.5 million, no money down.
Yeah, so we got it. Our payment was $12,500 a month. The rent income was $18,000, so we didn't have a lot of margin.
Yeah,
but we gave 60-day notice to everyone. We didn't even do any work on it at this time. We gave 60-day notice. After 60 days, the rent went from $18,000 to $28,000.
You bought.
Now that same apartment complex, now that was 3 years ago. Okay, so it went from $18,000 with us paying out $12,500, well, plus tax and insurance. So we were probably netting maybe $2,000, right?
Yeah.
Then we took it to $28,000. Now we have it at $42,000 or $43,000 a month. And funny enough, Grant Cardone, I went to talk to him in person. He helped me. He connected me with a lender that reappraised not just for $2.5 million, but for $5.2 million. Is what it's worth. Yeah.
Okay.
And my payment has risen though to $17,000 with that refinance. But we're still have a great spread, great depreciation, and technically we've already made another 2.5 or 2.7
off the refi.
Well, in value and equity.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That is a preposterous amount of money.
That's crazy, man.
That is wild. Like the rent increases that you're looking at, do you think that's primarily a function of the market? Do you think that's a function of like what y'all are doing in terms of the management, a combination of the two?
Well, see, the thing is these guys they're still friends of mine today. It was three brothers who owned that apartment complex. And and actually to preface this, I was not getting into multifamily. Like I said, I'm you know how long it took me to get into single family, okay?
Yeah.
So I wasn't even thinking of multifamily. Just like, no, I've never owned something like that. Millions of dollars, no. $100,000, $45,000 home, I'm good.
We'll play around with these. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But Grant Cardone said on a YouTube video, just go walk them. You don't have to buy them, just go walk them and you'll learn so much. Well, I looked on LoopNet, where also most people say don't go look, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've made a lot of broker relationships from there too, but this apartment complex was for sale for $1.9 million, and it didn't sell. And for 2 years, I'd always seen it, but I'm not getting into multifamily at this time in my mind. Well, then all of a sudden, it went to 2.6 million is what they had it listed for. Now I'm like,
you want 700.
It wouldn't sell for 1.9. Now they're putting it 2.6 or whatever. What's going on? Bless you.
Sorry about that.
I was like, what's going on? And I said, well, I'm just going to do what Grant said. This is local. I'm just going to call and practice. Just why not go walk?
Yeah.
Called. It was actually the seller who answered. So they had it with a broker before. It didn't work at $1.9 million. Now the sellers are trying to sell it for 2.6. You know, I'm like, okay. But so I go meet them. And as we're walking around, the property is not it was all brick.
Yeah.
Brand new roofs. Like it had just been put on. That's why they rose the price, by the way.
Okay.
You know, the rents, man, no joke. 1-bedroom apartments, they had them for rent for like $375. And the 2 bedrooms for $475.
Where?
In Calhoun, Georgia, North Georgia.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
What it is they're the sweetest guys and they didn't want to raise the rents. They inherited it from their dad who had built the apartments. When we bought them, we rose them up $300-400 in the first 60 days. Now the 1 bedrooms to this day is $925 for 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
And the 2 bedrooms we have at $1,075.
They're just sitting there with the rents like wildly under market.
Yeah. We just bought another one, actually, funny enough. It was 5. They wanted 6. I think it appraised at 6.4. They had it on market for 5.9. We got it for 5.3, owner finance as well.
Yeah.
And his were also $400 under market. I just closed on it in December.
Okay.
And in April now, because we took a little time to kind of like, let it stabilize normal and find out everything. In April, we've risen the rents $400 on all the units.
That's a crazy jump.
Just crazy.
What do you see a lot of? I mean, obviously there's a ton of advice online. There's a ton of people that are getting into real estate, want to get into real estate. What do you think the bad advice is out there from someone that's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things?
Well, one thing, you said something kind of funny. You said your sister got so many calls.
Yeah.
People who don't have a mentor are making creative terms look horrible.
Okay.
They call the sellers and are just
don't know what
butchering
they're
it.
don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're selling, don't know why it works for them.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that say some stuff creative that are really bad.
Yeah,
but and I hate it because I don't know which one specific you're wanting me to mention. But
I'm not mentioning anyone in specific. I'm just saying because I mean I'm sure your Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever is full of a bunch of real estate stuff like mine is, and it's like sometimes you listen to stuff and you're like, what is that guy going on about? Like,
I don't like it that there's some people out there making it look okay to buy a property subject to. Okay, where to explain what subject to is, you have a loan on a home.
Yep.
I buy it subject to your pre-existing loan. I think that's okay to buy it like that.
Yeah.
But what some guys are saying is you can borrow money from another buddy or investor or uncle in a second lien position, if you think about it. And then you're like, well, if the loan gets called due, which it could.
Theoretically,
theoretically. It probably won't, but if it does, it puts your buddies or your uncle's money at risk.
You're hanging your boy out to dry. Like that's...
Yeah, so I think that's kind of risky. I also think some of the creative gurus I've seen out there is I don't like to talk to a seller in a way like, I got you. I really and truly want to create something that is good for both the seller and the buyer. I think you can do this with good values. I mean, morally well.
Yeah.
In fact, when I'm talking to the sellers, I want them to understand. Like for example, I say stuff like this, like if you're confused, don't make a decision.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, I want to make sure it's very clear what we're doing, because we're married together for this 5 years or 20 years. Like
you're establishing a business relationship with this person.
So I think that we want to make sure we're doing it good and morally. As far as that, most other gurus, they say some pretty good stuff. It's usually just the people that just hear it a little bit. They haven't paid for mentorship. Not that you have to, but you need to go find someone that's doing it and make sure you're pitching correctly. Because like you said, your sister's getting calls. Some people get mad. They're mean. They kind of make the sellers feel stupid. And then we're calling after that.
And then you get the venom. Yeah,
and then we've got to kind of calm them down and let them see, oh, look, this is what we do. Here's our track record and stuff. So
it's like the same way with, I mean, for like a real estate agent side of it, it's like for sale by owners, expired listings, that kind of thing. It's like if you're number 5, 6 in line, it's like they're already mad because they're like, the first person called me and their philosophy was essentially like, fuck you, give me the home to sell. I want to get a commission off of it. And like, they just did not care about me at all. But it's like, if you can get in front and be like, look, there's actually a way we can both make money and it's going to work for everyone.
Absolutely. And there's some good brokers out there, man. Like, The apartment complex that I bought,
Yeah.
you have to realize, and I don't want to go in like too much detail about all the deals.
No.
I'm sorry if I'm boring you.
No,
on my deals,
I'm not at all.
Whenever we negotiated that, I knew it was more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to realize a broker brought it to me and said, "What do you think about this deal?"
Yeah.
And it was through a selling agent or broker had the listing, right?
Okay.
So I said, well, here's what we need to do. Let's meet me, you, the selling agent, the seller, and his attorney.
Yeah.
So we all sat down at the table to make sure
everyone in the same room.
everything was clear.
Yeah.
And we sat down and put it all out and we said, look, here's the situation we're in. High interest rate. He's asking kind of high. He's also got a low cost basis. If we buy it like this, it's going to hit him hard on taxes now. You know, but here's the thing is the selling agent wants their commission. The buyer agent wants their commission. We want to make sure you get that commission.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have to, but as you can see how we're buying it, you guys are going to have, the agents had to take money monthly.
Okay.
You know, because what is, I don't remember, I don't know what their specific commission is, but what is 5% on 5.3 million, right? 250.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's like $250,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you're splitting with the other brokers. So
You're still walking with $250,000. Yeah.
Yeah, 120 grand, right? But I'm saying, Dallas, look what we're going through here. We can't put much money down because the risks involved. We're buying it this creative way.
Yeah.
The seller cannot receive a lot of money or y'all going to make him lose a ton.
I was about
right?
to say, y'all are going to throw him to the wolves with the IRS.
So what we're going to do is we're going to buy it this certain way creatively. You and the other agent will get paid $1,000 a month until the cash out when interest rates come down after a year or two.
Yeah.
So that's how we actually did it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the agents came on board to understand the situation because we want to make sure that, I'm sure that you agents, whenever y'all are selling like this, you want to make sure the seller's happy and the buyer.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to put anybody in harm's way. And in this case, it would have really hurt the seller. Not me. It would have hurt the seller.
Yeah.
And the agents were real good and cooperative on that. And they still get their commission. It's just getting them monthly for a while until, and then they get a big cash out later.
Still, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some agents that would be open to that, but I know a hell of a lot of agents that I've dealt with where they'd be like, F you, like, I want my money now.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, that's just getting in the way of a deal, which goes into the whole argument of like agents get in the way of deals, which like I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Plenty of times, but.
I have a quick question. In Atlanta, have you had any buyers buy anything creatively?
No.
Really? Oh, man.
You're the only person that I've ever done outreach for creatively. Okay. And every agent that I think I sent you a text one time about like the response from one of these guys, like, you need to distance yourself from this type of person, like this whole spiel. And I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, brother, your people are underwater. Like, you've been trying to sell this thing for 8 months. They're underwater. Maybe there's another way. Maybe you need to open your eyes and like. And
believe it or not, we've gotten 3 houses under contract.
Yeah.
In West Paces Ferry.
Yeah.
$5 million home, $1 million, like.
Nice spots.
But some we ended up not getting them though. But it wasn't because they wasn't open to doing terms. It's just some of the terms were just not in favor for us to be able to buy it.
Where it's like this
it was just
work.
Too one-sided, which is okay. You know, that's okay with the seller, and we're not pushy. You know, if it don't work for them, it don't work for us.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I think it's definitely something that's, to your point, it's like a knowledge gap. There's a lot of people that don't really understand it because they don't understand it. They're scared of it. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, ooh, scary, different than normal. Like, keep that away from me. What, in terms of what you've seen, what's the most beneficial to the seller on the seller finance side? Because you've talked a lot, like there's a lot of pros to them. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you mentioned one, a lot of the landlords, you want to elevate them from being a landlord to the banker. They still get their monthly cash flow. They get there's tax benefits to this if you want to defer taxes. What are the other reasons that sellers opt for creatively financed deals?
Well, I'll talk about the stuff I've seller financed.
Yeah, go for it.
I bought some properties kind of far from me. Usually when I buy in a certain area, I like to have 10 properties minimum. Like I shoot for more. The reason why is because if I have a maintenance guy, he's going to charge me a lot if I only have one property in that area. But if I have 10, 20, a little more volume, I get a little bit more of a discount. It justifies why I can hire someone in that area to manage the property or one property management company that's on my side. You know what I mean? Like in that way. But there was a case where I had a property, for example, kind of further away. I said, well, I could sell this to somebody. So in this case, I sold it to an investor though. But so I'll give you one example of both, one investor and then one person. Okay. Sold it to investor. They were able to get into a property with less money down than what they would have been able to do. Because usually banks will make you pay 20% down, 20 years, and then it's a kind of a higher interest, and then balloon in 3 years. You know how they go. In this case, I gave them really good terms. I said, I'll do 20-year, 30-year, or whatever. They chose 30-year. They gave me like 5 or 10% down. They went in and did their own, remodel, however they wanted. And then they get the cash flow, and I don't have to deal with the property. I don't have to worry about a tenant. I don't have to worry about repairs and maintenance. And I feel good I'm giving them an option to, get into real estate. And if I ever needed liquidity, I can always sell that note to someone.
Yeah.
Right? So that was that case. The other case is I like to do it almost like help people slowly build a way to become a homeowner. So for example, let's just say my whole thing is this. Let's just say you come in, you're a great guy, you just got out of college, you have student debt, you don't have any money, no credit. I'll say, hey, Dallas, great. You're welcome to rent one of these apartments. Let's build a relationship. As you grow and get on your feet and you have a down payment, I'll lease option your property. Then you can move. So let's just say you move into my apartments, you're renting.
Yep.
Then I'll let you lease option a home. You may give $10,000, $20,000 down. You get into your own single family home. Let's just say now 3-4 years have passed. For some reason, it's no fault to your own. You're a good person. You can't get a loan. You're a quality person. You're just not qualified right now.
Yeah, the bank won't for whatever reason.
You're self-employed. Sometimes banks give you issue with that. You still have that student debt.
Yeah.
But you don't want to just lease option a home and then the option comes and you can't fulfill.
Yeah.
Right? Then, so you went from renting to lease option. Me and you have a good relationship. Then I'll turn it over to seller finance for you.
Okay.
And then in the end, you own the home. So it's kind of like a little staircase or ladder, like rent, lease option, owner finance, homeowner. And at any of those times, you can cash me out if you can get a loan later.
Okay.
So I feel good about that. So there's a lot of people that we've done that with. They've gone through the whole process. They've rented, then they lease option, then we moved them to seller finance. And I feel good I'm giving someone, an opportunity to own a property. Yeah. So that's good for me as a seller. As far as other sellers, it depends on their motive. Some people, they've inherited the home. They don't want it. Mm-hmm. It's in bad condition. No bank will give a loan on it. This is the way they're going to have to sell it. Yeah. Just to be honest with you, because no bank's going to give it if there's a hole in the roof or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another way is maybe someone bought a home and because we've had this happen many times. Someone bought a home. They overpaid for the home.
Yeah.
Now they got to move for another job opportunity, but the house is underwater a little bit. They're underwater on the home. They'd have to sell it and come to the closing with the check.
Write a check.
We might as well buy it creatively from them,
Save
and that way they don't have to come out of pocket just to pay off the loan. But we also get an opportunity to buy it. Like you said, another seller might be a tired landlord. They thought it was going to be easy, or maybe they're just on their way out. I bought a portfolio of 32 properties.
Okay.
From an older gentleman. He's had them for many years. He's ready to get out. That was a tax issue. And it was his retirement, and he's very happy, So I guess there's many reasons that a seller would sell and many benefits to them, really.
I was about to say, it's just you've got to take the time to understand what, from the buy side, you've got to take the time and understand what you're selling and how you can sell each of your different products to the, the particular landlord.
Yeah, we usually offer a cash offer, which is at a discount. We're like, just to be honest with you, we're buying it, we're taking the risk.
Yeah.
It's at a discount. However, if you want closer to your purchase price, we got to be creative this way. Or another creative way, we'll rent it from you with the option to buy. Same thing. We'll do a lease option when we acquire too. So I'll rent the property from you with an option to buy later. And then we'll get in and we wait 3, 4, 5 years. And hopefully we've gained some equity there. And then we purchase.
And then you can
go we've done that as well.
Interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You mentioned meeting Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
How's that?
He's funny. Yeah, he's
flamboyant or like over the top in person as he is on the internet.
So I was online and like I said, I think a mentor is super important. I didn't realize that when I was younger, even when I first got started in real estate, because I looked at YouTube videos and everything. But if you look about everything I said, it took me 5 years to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a mentor or someone to tell me do it or guide me or just put me at ease. So when I did finally do a few little courses here, I pay $1,000 here. I'm sure you've done some.
Yeah, 100%.
Courses. If you think about it, we spend $1,000 or $5,000, that'll make you $10,000 or $100,000 a year for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So, I guess I got to the point. I said, "Man, I've really peaked at what I'm doing because I've kind of got like a machine here, but I feel like I can go to the next level. But if I just keep going to the conferences and it's not one-on-one, it's not gonna help anymore, right?" So I started thinking.
I was gonna say, is that you? I don't know if that's you or me.
I think it's me. Sorry, man.
No, you're good.
So I looked online and I saw that Grant, if you paid $100,000, you could have 4 meetings with him. So
damn.
Yeah,
you're paying $25,000 a meeting for an hour.
Yeah, and my stomach, I felt sick. It was either 1 meeting for $40,000 or 4 for $100,000.
That's a hell of a price anchor.
It is. And I said, oh man, I thought about it. I prayed about it. And I said, you know what? I've paid $5,000 on some products and I've made $100,000 for the rest, the rest of my life per year, right? I said, if I pay $100,000, number one, I can meet him and maybe have, get a relationship and learn something.
Yeah.
Number two, maybe he can help me with his network, and I just tried to justify it. So I paid the $100,000. I was sick to my stomach.
Just like a wire, you just wire $100,000 to Cardone Capital or who?
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah, I got great points.
Points.
Yeah. So I flew out.
Okay.
And I met him. And when I walked in, he was on the phone and everything. And so I just sat there waiting. I said, man, I'm sitting here with Grant Cardone. I've seen him, gotten pictures with him before, but it's not like I had one-on-one time. So I was like, man, okay, this is happening. Finally, he got off the phone and me and him talked. I told him about everything I was doing. And funny enough, he actually brought up creative stuff too.
Really?
On his own. I didn't mention that yet. I just said, yeah, I'm buying single family. I'm buying, multifamily. And I said, here's the deal that I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And it's actually the one I just closed on, the $5.3 million.
So you took him a deal. You're like, hey, look, this is what I'm
looking at. I was trying to see if there's, how I could buy it because I think it's a great opportunity. And he says, why don't you do it? And he talked about Ryan, his pilot. He says, you can try and master lease it. And I was like, man, that's actually one of my offers anyway. So it showed me that he's very creative. Second thing is I explained my remember I said I bought my first apartment complex 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, I bought it owner financing. I like to cash out the sellers. I need help knowing what type of financing to do. He passed me a number and called a guy for me. That's the people that helped me get the refinancing, got agency financing on my apartments.
Oh, so I mean, you pay $100,000 to meet Cardone, and then he bumps your equity in an apartment complex by $2.5 million. I'm like, oh, that's a good ROI.
Yeah, and not only that, I was able to cash out refinance, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
So I got $888,000 because of that refinance, and my payments rose just a little bit,
I was about to say, you said they went up a couple $1,000.
Yeah, but now my terms are so good. I think it's a 10-year balloon or something. It's a 30-year term with a 10-year balloon.
Okay.
Man, it's better than going to a local bank, which would be like 20 years with a 3-year balloon or 5-year balloon.
Just from getting into his.
Yeah, and my interest rate was still in the sixes, like low sixes, when everyone else was like 7.5 at that time. Now they're 8.5. It's crazy. So meeting Grant helped me so much just on that first conversation.
You've met some really cool people. I mean, you've met all the big real estate gurus. You met Pineda, you met Cardone.
I haven't met Pineda. I got invited to be on a podcast with his COO and a guy named Brian Davila.
Yeah,
they're real estate guys. I didn't meet Ryan.
Okay.
But yeah, I've met Grant Cardone. I met his wife, Elena, which honestly gave us a lot of amazing advice too.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to tell you about that too.
Yeah, we can go into that after.
Yeah, met Manny Koshman and went to his event. Glenn Stearns Undercover Billionaire.
I was going to say, I know you met Glenn Stearns a couple times, right?
Yeah. Oh man,
you were on Russell Brunson's island or something, right?
Oh,
you were on some
Richard
island.
Branson's
Richard
island.
Branson, yeah, not to be confused with Epstein's island.
No, definitely not. No.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Richard Branson. Okay.
Yeah. So when I met Glenn, I got to go have lunch with him and his wife, And to me, to be honest with you, out of all the people, all of them, I respect Glenn and Mindy like above everybody.
Okay.
Mainly because I spent more time with them, okay? There's also Sharif Medawar, who I respect highly, and he's just the greatest guy and everything. But Glenn and Mindy is the reason I admire them so much is they're not just transactional, they're relationship based.
Okay.
And they have the biggest heart, you know what I mean? And have they're the best people, really. I one day I'll have to introduce you, man. They're the best.
Works for me.
But after I met them for lunch, they invited us to their home, which is just a 30,000 square, huge home, man. We just did a house tour, so it'll be on my YouTube channel.
Hell yeah,
man. And then just one day randomly, Mindy wrote me and said, "Would I like to go to Richard Branson's island?" I'm like, "Oh yeah,
sure."
So me and Alec, one of the guys who films me, we went over there and just had fun. Got to meet Richard Branson. It was kind of cool, man.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What is Richard Branson's island like?
Man, it's 10-star. It's
10-star.
Beautiful, man. They no joke. There's so many staff there. If you say you need something to drink or eat, they bring it to you right away. Like everything's free once you're there. There's wakeboarding. There's scuba diving.
That's wild.
Tennis. I mean, just everything. Just beautiful.
How much do you think it cost to buy an island?
Ooh, well, I think he paid $180,000 for that island a long time ago. Did you know that?
You can buy an island for $180,000.
He did. Richard Branson did in the 80s.
For Richard Branson, you can buy an island. Oh, okay.
Wow. And now I think it's worth like $100 million, $150 million or something. Just crazy, crazy return.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, there's islands for sale, man. We found them from $400,000 to $3 million. You can buy them off of Panama and Costa Rica and all that.
You're trying to buy an island, aren't you?
We have, yeah.
I knew it. You're like, we've been looking at a couple of them.
We haven't gotten
a fucking
it yet,
island.
but we're trying to get them creatively. That'd be crazy. But did you know that some of them have laws that if you buy it and you put a house, you have to allow it public or something like that. Some of the laws are weird, depending on the country.
You have to make them public?
Yeah, I'm going to look more into it because I may be completely wrong. But apparently, if in some of the islands in some of the countries that it's like owned under, you gotta allow like so many visitors, or you have to do it like a resort style or something like that.
Fuck you! It's my island.
I know, it's crazy.
It's my island. I'll have whoever I want. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I paid $3 million for this island. Oh my God! Then you got to develop the island. That's a good way to get into land development. Buy an island, develop the island, put septic tanks. I mean,
yeah.
I would imagine it has to be. I mean, there's no sewer.
Yeah.
Good God, that's wild.
Yeah.
Buying islands, buying apocalypse mobiles.
Yep.
I was about to say, that's like one of the things that I feel like is the most popular, or not the most popular. One of the things I see all the time on TikTok is people talking about buying the over 6,000 pound cars or trucks or whatever for the tax benefit. I mean, obviously you've taken full advantage of that.
Oh yeah. On my apocalypse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw that on the Jay Leno show.
Okay.
Like I was watching YouTube and I saw it and I said, oh man, that is so cool. And then I happened to be in Miami at a Grant Cardone event.
Yeah.
And at Ventura Mall, they had one parked in there. I was like, man, I get to see it in person. Now, this is amazing.
That's
so I
cool.
did my research, reached out, and they custom built it for me, man.
How much that apocalypse mobile cost?
Ooh, about 190-ish, 200,000.
Okay, so you buy it 190. What does that wipe out in terms of taxes?
I technically can't say it.
Okay, never mind. Well,
yeah.
Ignore that. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, no, but it would help me with my tax. It has good tax benefits, and honestly, I'm a more introverted person, right? So I am trying to get into personal branding at the same time. So I felt like it would help me with personal branding. So I have my Instagram handle on there. Yeah, and then hopefully it'll get attention. So it's a good marketing piece for me too, I believe, and helps give me some credibility too.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of the things that at least I feel like I kind of fought for a long, long, long time. And I was like, oh, whatever, that's just people that want to flex. I think in a world where you do have, I think to some degree it gets watered down a little bit because you got those dorks that rent the Lambos and Airbnb to do their little photo shoot. And then they're like, oh, see, now buy my course or whatever. And that's a whole other discussion. But I think that 100% having something that you can point to be like, you got a nice little Lamborghini as well.
I do, yeah.
you got that. You got that little apocalypse mobile. And it's like, look, okay, I'm buying this shit. It's got my Instagram handle. It's mine. So you can see that, I had some degree of monetary success, at least in a world.
I get some hate too, though.
Well, yeah, but there's a bunch of mouth breathers on the internet. They're going to hate on anyone that's not them. So,
well, I have people drive by and they'll flick me off just because I'm driving a Lambo.
And those people are angry at the world and, go, live in your Reddit hole and play video games or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's a course that I bought. It's called Exotic Car Hacks.
I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I just like what so you can buy watches, like there's exotic watch hacks.
You've got a nice little watch collection as well.
Yeah, that too. And then exotic car hacks. But yeah, you can technically the course is really good. Teach you how to get financing.
Okay.
How to negotiate.
Okay.
And honestly, just to know what kind of car to buy. So for example, a Lambo, it does lose value when you buy it brand new usually. Not lately because it's been crazy, right? But when you buy a Lambo, after 3 years, that's the farthest like the value will drop.
Like on the depreciation curve, it's like it bottoms after 3 years.
Yeah. The only way that it goes down beyond the 3 years is depending on how many miles you put on the car.
So there's really, the biggest difference between, I don't know Lamborghini models, but call it like an Aston Martin DB11. Like let's just use 3 years. The only difference between a 3-year-old DB11 and a 5-year-old DB11 is just like the mileage amount. Like it's not just going to keep.
Yeah, and then so I don't know the Aston Martin, so I'm going to talk about her cons.
No, go for the Lambos, whatever.
So I saw them for sale for $325 all the way to $285. So what I did is I did exactly what that guy said on his exotic car is I lowballed a lot of dealerships for $250 or $260. Someone finally accepted $265 or something. I think I came out $269 or something at the end, and I said out the door, and we ended up at $269.
Financing it?
Yeah, and then I financed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to put some money down. I forget if it was 15 or 20. That was Woodside Credit.
Wait, you put $20,000 down on a
20%.
Oh, I was like, what
like
the?
60,000.
Okay, I was like, hold on.
Yeah. So then I bought it. Now, and what PJ talks about in that exotic car hacks is you calculate how many miles you can drive and how long you can keep it before you have to sell it.
It's literally just like a mathematical calculation. Just like, okay, at X number of miles, I'm start to lose money.
Exactly. So now I'm thinking, okay, I've had it a year now. So now technically I could sell it and either break even. So that means I had the Lambo for free this entire time, or I think I'll make about 15 to 20 grand. So it's not a lot, but I got to drive it for free for a year.
So you get paid 20 grand to drive a fucking Lamborghini.
Exactly. It's crazy, huh? Yeah.
Yo, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. And you can do that with watches and stuff too, which usually I just buy watches and I like to collect them and keep them. I buy them for each win that I have,
That's cool.
Yeah. But the cars are that you can trade in and out. You can't do it with like a Honda or it has to be specific cars. So I said, I'm not selling it, but his course is amazing.
Exotic car hack. So basically you've got to have a certain level of, a certain dollar amount, presumably that's these cars sell for before they have like the weird bottom out on the depreciation curve.
And what people don't know is, man, on these type of exotic cars, even like say a Gallardo, you can buy that for 150 grand. And you're like, man, I can't afford that. You can get 15 to 20 year financing on that.
You can finance a Lambo for 15 years?
Yeah. Yes, you can. Technically speaking, okay, you could buy this Lambo and probably pay $900 to $1,200 a month for it, okay? And the insurance is cheaper than my Tesla Model Y, if that lets you know anything, by the way. Okay. So then you're driving the Lambo. You can use it for your business, marketing, and hopefully sell it and make money or break even. And even if you did take a loss after keeping it a year and you lost 10 grand, you paid 10 grand for a year to use a Lambo.
I was about to say, that's badass. Get
Telling
to
you,
drive a Lambo for 10 grand.
It's great. So I'll always do that.
Exotic car hacks. Okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Mm-hmm. I think he's based out of Miami, that guy, too.
That sounds
I'd love to meet him, yeah.
PJ, his name's PJ, right? Like I follow him on, I 100% follow this guy on Instagram. Like I've seen a bunch of his stuff.
Oh, man, he's legit. It's good.
I'm pulling this up right now. Probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, he'll get you. Just the watches are good too, but like I said, I don't trade them. So, but
watches, you like watches?
But watches are a bad addiction. But
it's not going to pull up because there's not service. Oh, there it is. Yeah, exotic. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. What's so like? You say you buy a watch for all your wins. What's the favorite watch? Your favorite watch? So I have an
RM. 30.
Oh yeah,
that's probably my favorite.
I was about to say, do you have a Jacob & Co?
I do, a Bugatti one. Yeah.
You and Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah. He's got number 7. I've got number 2. There's only 72 of them in the world. I think Jake Paul has one. Andrew Tate.
So you undercut Andrew Tate by 5 spots.
Well, technically, as far as numerical.
I'm just fucking throw that on TikTok.
There you go, Andrew. I want to meet you too.
Free Top G.
There you go. Oh yeah, he got put in jail again.
He got thrown back in jail. That's some bullshit.
Crazy, man.
Bro, that's a whole other like hot button issue. But dude, it seems to me like you cannot convince me there is not a conspiracy to try and shut that dude up. You say whatever you want to say about him, but like the details of the attack on him, whatever you want, I'm going to call it an attack because in my mind, there's no legitimacy to this thing out of England. They were like, yeah, sometime between August and December of 2012, he assaulted a woman. It's like,
yeah,
that's the most specific you're going to get. That's all y'all know is that sometime between that period of time. Like that seems a little,
yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like that guy, yeah, but this seems like a little bit of a witch hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I think a lot of people are reaching out to all of his ex-girlfriends and it's kind of giving incentives, I believe.
Yeah. Dude, you can't convince me that there's not a level that you get to where people start throwing bribe money at your ex-girlfriend. They'll find anyone that you cross paths with. Like, look, you don't got like, we'll pay you $100,000 to fabricate evidence against this dude because we want an excuse to lock this dude up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like you.
And his brother. Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I don't follow them that much, but some of the stuff I saw was actually pretty good. It's just very controversial.
I was going to say that man's a hot button issue and a half, but hey, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, you look at the list of people that are seemingly falsely accused. Snowden bailed out of Dodge. All these people that they wind up locked up. What's that dude's Assange, Julian Assange? Same playbook. You go back, you find some girl from a decade prior, and you throw him a bunch of money and say, "Oh, he sexually assaulted me," and then he was holed up in that Ecuadorian embassy for however long. I think he's in custody in the UK now in some prison.
Oh, wow.
But it's like it seems like there's a playbook. If someone starts spouting off some stuff you don't want thrown out there, it's like go find someone from a decade prior, get them to say whatever, and keep it moving. But
yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, Ty. So I spoke with Ty Lopez, and he said something pretty interesting. He said, from fame on 1 to 10, like Donald Trump and them being like a 10.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate's like 9.
Bro, he's as high as Donald Trump, I bet, right now.
Yeah, I think so too. But he did say if you're going to get known, it's good to be around a 7 because if you're 8, 9, or 10, you have so many lawsuits. Everyone trying to attack you. Someone's just trying to get something from you, and he says it's horrible. So I can imagine that.
There's like a certain level of niche fame that I think it's really beneficial to get to. Like you know who Sam Sulek is?
I do. The bodybuilder?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Sam Sulek, it's like that dude is widely known and adored by all these dudes that are like under 30. He's an icon to these guys.
Even Arnold Schwarzenegger had a picture with him.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
but if I ask my mom who Sam Sulek is, she has no clue.
Exactly.
She could be standing next to him in line to check out. She'd have no clue. She'd just go, oh, that dude's jacked.
He's living right in that 7 there.
I think that's where you want to be. You get higher than that, all of a sudden you start getting people approach. I think you start getting people approaching you like, hey, you're a little too influential to have your own thoughts and opinions out there. Mm-hmm. What if we just tempered those and we'll give you a check? We'll compensate you to have, these more acceptable points of view. But that's a whole,
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole. But dude, I think the niche fame is probably what most people should shoot for because you just get more opportunities out of it. It's like, what makes you want to build a personal brand? Like for you, what's the driver?
So to me, number one, I realized how much I needed a mentor when I started. So I feel like I'm kind of getting to the level, like I'm older now, right? So I can feel
how old are you?
I'm 37 now, right?
Aging well. I got more gray hairs than you, and I'm a decade younger than you. What the hell?
Oh, man, I like you. Thank you. Now, I think that I can mentor some younger people, number one. Number two, I believe that if I can create, like you said, niche-based, like real estate, and I'm trying to get into M&A, which is buying and selling businesses or helping them, I just feel like the more reach I have, the more opportunities are brought to me. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
And I can build future partners or meet future partners, and just it's like Grant says, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job, man. Honestly, you inspired me. I found you. That's how me and you met, was TikTok.
And we live in the same damn building.
I know. I wrote you about selling, and then we lived in the same building.
I was going to say, I think I don't even know if I'd ever seen you in that building. I mean, you live in a 35 floor high rise with, 10 units of floor. Like, you see a hell of a lot of people, but it's like, you're like, oh yeah, this is the building that I live in Atlanta. And I was like, hold on. It's like, wait a second. I think you just live way up in the penthouse and I live on the 3rd floor. But
that was crazy, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, you meet a ton of people through it. Like, I met you, I met Tim, obviously. I mean, that's kind of like the little like network. Colin, I met a bunch of people around Atlanta. I've met a handful of people in the gym. Justin,
you're
Esteban.
An amazing networker, by the way, man.
Me?
Yeah, you're very extroverted. I wish
I'm not. I'm not extroverted at all.
Really?
Nuh-uh. No, this is taxing to me. Like, talking on the phone, like, dude, talking on the phone all day. Dude, I've got 250 unread text messages on my phone right now because, like, talking with people exhausts me, and I'll get like a text message and I'm like, the mental bandwidth it would take. Do I even want to see this?
605 unread.
All right. You win the introvert contest. Yeah. No, dude, because it's like you get to me, it's like so exhausting. Like, dude, I got home from the gym last night and sat down and watched a chess course that I've been going through for 3 hours.
A chess course?
Yeah. I've been playing chess a bunch lately. So
you have to teach me. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's fun. Gotham Chess is like this dude that I watch on YouTube a ton. He's got like a huge following, literally same exact thing, probably like hyper niche famous, like in the chess world.
I watched that guy Magnus.
Yeah, Magnus Carlsen. Yeah.
He's on my TikTok all the time.
Yeah. I think Levy, Gotham Chess, has played against Magnus and stuff like that.
Wow.
So Levy's an international master, whereas, I mean, Magnus is obviously like the top of the food chain. But no, I mean, he's got like 3, 4, 5 million followers on YouTube. He's got his own little like chess platform. Like I bought this course on, it's called like Chessly. I think I paid $40 for it with like a discount code. It's all about this one particular opening with black. And I just like, sit there for 3 hours and go down a rabbit hole of like, oh, okay, this is this line. This is this line. This is interesting. But dude, he's got this wild niche fame, but he's in New York City, and 99.9% of people that are standing next to him have no clue who the fuck that guy is. And I bet he's getting paid off of
I bet he is.
Ad revenue and the courses and all that stuff. I mean, it seems like a pretty big opening. You talk. No.
So whenever you're doing personal branding, what are you doing it for? It's for opportunities too, to be broad?
Same exact thing.
For realtor or just in general?
Just in general.
Okay, that's
just
awesome.
in general. Yeah. I mean, like I like being a real estate agent. Like overall, I like the opportunities it affords. It's a good way to make a living. But I think that there's a lot of opportunities out there you can get introduced to if you put yourself out there and people know, hey, I mean, a lot of it too is just people resonating with you. I mean, I guess there's some tiers to it. One, if you want to be a real estate agent, being a real estate agent, you're a commodity. You've got to find some way to separate yourself, and that's got to be either a massive skill gap, and that skill gap has to be apparent. Like, it can't be you sit there and you're scared to pitch yourself. Like, people have to look at you and go, that guy knows buying condos. That guy knows buying new construction, whatever. So, like, on one level, it's a way to separate yourself from the real estate agents. The level higher than that, I mean, kind of try and get into the same thing that you're doing in terms of opportunities.
So tell me, how has personal branding and doing social media helped you exactly? Like, has it brought you a ton of business and everything? I
wouldn't say it's brought me a ton. It's brought me a decent bit. It helps you convert business a lot. Because again, like prior to working with Yellowstone, selling this neighborhood, you want to buy a home in Forsyth County, Yellowstone Farm. Prior to working up at Yellowstone, when I was like really, really worried about leads and stuff like that, I would incorporate a lot of the TikTok videos into the follow-up that I would do. Because literally then you just kind of plug people into your network. And so it wasn't, I would use the videos for ads. This is like a super convoluted answer. I would use the videos for ads, which would bring people into the funnel. Then you take those videos and you can show the people that have then seen other videos and say, hey, look, this is me showing you that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Because if everyone knows a real estate agent, you've got to find some way to show them like, hey, look, I'm not going to lose you your money. I'm going to actually help you get a good deal on your home. Like, I'm going to do the job right. So in terms of nurturing and converting, it's done a hell of a lot for me. Obviously, the networking side of it, met you, Tim, a bunch of guys around Atlanta. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that it's one of those things where, I mean, I've been doing it for, I think, like 2 years now. And everyone that I've seen is like, it takes like 6 to 10 years before you really like, hit it. So, I mean, I'm very much in thinking, by the time I'm 35, I'll have a decent little following.
Oh, no. Well, you're killing it. You're doing good.
I appreciate that. Yeah. That's very kind of you. What the mentorship that you want to get into, like that you want to start giving out, you said a lot of it is because you had no mentor when you were starting out. You want to be able to like help people out. What do you think is the biggest thing that you want to like impart or to give to people that are getting into real estate investing for the first time?
So, Alex Hormozy started that thing, School, SKOOL.
I'm in your little school group.
Yeah, we started that group. So basically we'll have a community where everyone can kind of talk, meet other partners, lenders, just friends, and also have access to, I guess, other like people. I mean, if an agent's in there,
Yeah.
You'd be able to connect with them and help them out. So I just want to give access to people.
Okay.
You know, because if it took me, imagine if I would have actually started when I was 25, when I first started getting houses under contract.
Yeah.
Some of those deals I missed, millions and millions of dollars I lost from not pulling the trigger. Just because, not because I wasn't willing to kind of do it. I didn't have a mentor there to guide me and bring me put me at ease.
A lot of it was confidence.
Confidence, yeah, but having someone there would have really helped.
Okay.
So number one, I want to be able to give people access to, I hate to say it, but like me and other experienced investors.
You hate to say it, but also like when you're doing, I mean, the deals at the level that you're doing, time's fucking valuable.
It is.
Like it's not like you can sit there and be like, well, I'm just going to sit down and talk with everyone for 6 hours a day. It's like, I got business stuff I got to attend to. Plus,
that's my part. So
personal life.
Yeah, going back to me on this is I need an assistant. I'm trying to learn how to make things more corporate. So I've done all the real estate myself up until just October of this last year. So I just hired Tim, Tim Stone, amazing. I never thought I'd be able to have him. Colin White, awesome, man. He's like a busy, but he's working and he's in France right now, still doing calls back and forth. It's just crazy. And then we just got David Retteneller. So he just came on. Super good guy.
He's an awesome dude.
And my brother, he's working with us too. You know, he's been helping me. My brother's the smart one out of me and him, by the way. Yeah, Joseph. Same. So, but that's why we're training them and everything that they're doing when they start acquiring, because they're learning how to acquire too. The way I do it. Now, when we have this community, we do masterminds, which we will do, I'm sure, and we're going to do courses and stuff. We want to make sure that my guys know how to hold these people accountable. If someone would have held me accountable when I was 25, I would have started then instead of 5 years later. You know?
I was about to say, you have that 60 unit month at 26 instead of at 30, and then the downstream.
Oh man, I just think about where I'd be right now because I'm 37, man.
Yeah.
That means I would be in this 12 years instead of just 6 or 7.
That's so wild to me how quickly you can scale that in real estate. Because, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've seen, again, online, which not to say that's like representative of reality, but a lot of the stuff online is like, oh yeah, real estate's a good way to maintain wealth. It's not a good way to like the best way to generate wealth or like a fast way to generate wealth. Like if you want to generate wealth fast, you've got to like drop ship, run an e-com brand, run an agency in some capacity, like whatever the in vogue, or run a SaaS. I think SaaSes are in vogue now, which is a hilarious thing to, be like, oh, just start a software company. It's like, do you understand what you're saying? Like, do you have any comprehension of what you're advocating for? But
yeah. And actually you just made me think of something else is, going back with the mentors, because you asked me a question earlier, like bad things about mentors, is a lot of the gurus, and it's funny because I've met a lot of them, is they've only done 1 deal or 5 deals, and they have courses teaching how to do it. And I'm not going to say who this one guy, but this one guy's bought one apartment complex, was like 12 units, okay?
Yeah.
And he has this huge course where he made almost $1 million last year.
Yeah.
And he's only done 1 deal. Isn't that crazy?
Do you think that's unethical?
Not necessarily, but it's just, but the people think some of these guys are more credible than what they are. Yeah. Or there's some people that are doing, okay, there's another guy here in Atlanta. You just mentioned drop shipping and all that. Yeah. He did it and made $125,000
revenue. I guarantee it was revenue because they never post profit. Yep.
He made a course, I think 3 years ago, and I talked to his cousin. He made $8 million selling courses on how to do Amazon
FBA.
Mm-hmm. But since he in his first year he made 125 in revenue on Amazon. He hasn't done any more Amazon since. He literally just teaches and does courses and just plays the guru part. And he does have the Lambo and all that, but it's not off of what he done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like Grant Cardone, he bought his cool stuff and Glenn and them from the business that they're doing. Yeah. They just, but Grant just happens to teach what he does.
I was going to say if you teach it, that's fine. That's the one thing that I've thought about a lot recently. I was a member of, for a while, probably about a year, of this really popular real estate agent coaching program. And it was very beneficial. I got a lot out of it. I had a great time. I mean, I learned a lot. I definitely made my money back comfortably. I found out after I got out of the thing, the dude was never a real estate agent. Not my coach. My coach was a real estate agent, was like a producer. Like, I mean, he's legit dude. The guy that owned the coaching program was never even had his license. And I was like, I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, is that fucked up? Because on one hand, you are providing the value to everyone. So like if the people that are paying you money are getting, in their opinion, something valuable out of it and they're getting a positive ROI, like that's all great. But I was like, that's just, it's a weird, I don't know. To me, it seems a little weird. Like, I guess like you're good because the people buying it are up. But I guess I always think about the people that, the type of person that is fine doing 120 grand in revenue and then turning around and making $8 million off of a course. The type of person that feels comfortable doing that, what level of service are they comfortable providing to the people that are buying their course?
Oof.
I don't know, because there's probably some of them where it's really good, and there's probably a lot of them where it's like, do you know who Baller Busters is? Dude, go on Instagram, follow Baller Busters. It is a whole Instagram page of these like fake gurus where they'll charge. Dude, this guy that I used to love, me and a buddy of mine, one of my best friends, Matt Mullins, would sit our last year in college and we would watch this dude on YouTube. His name's Wes Watson.
Wes Watson.
Dude, he apparently, his whole spiel. I can't speak today. His whole spiel was like he did a decade in the California state prison system, all this stuff. Dude's clearly a juice head. I mean, he's saucy as hell, like so jacked. And I mean, he would just like scream at the cameras, like, stay hard, motherfucker. Like David Goggins type thing, except he was like, I'm tough because I was in prison, which like, hey, dude, don't go to prison, but whatever. General rule of thumb, stay out of the California state prison system. But he like was selling these like wild like courses to people in the fitness industry because he was jacked and whatever. It was like $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 packages. Bro, there was all these people that came forward like, I paid this dude $10,000 and then he told me I was a bitch. And he was like sitting there, was like verbally accosting these people after they paid him like 10 grand. And it's like, there's a lot of people that are like that where they build this whole reputation on the shakiest ground imaginable.
Oh my God.
It's crazy to me. Baller Busters is wild.
Well, if you think about it, it's kind of like that guy that graduates college with a business degree, and then he just ends up becoming a professor teaching business, and he's never done it. You know, there's a whole lot of that in the gym space too. There's like all these people that have the theoretical knowledge. It's like, well, like, dude, I had some dweeb that was like coming after me on some video where I was talking about something with lifting, and I'm like, dude, you like in his comment, he's like, well, I don't lift. He's like prefacing this with like, well, I don't exercise. Now allow me to tell you how you should exercise. And I'm like, you have book knowledge. You have no real world knowledge of like what actually works. And it's like, you see, I mean, I guess that's a common theme among humanity. And like in real estate, it's like, well, Shane, I understand you've done these things like 200 times. As someone that's never done it, let me tell you what you should do. And you just sit there and go, okay. Thanks for the advice, champ. But you said you've gotten some hate on for the cars and that kind of thing? Oh yeah. Like I said, I have people drive by, they'll flick me off. I'm like, man. Actually, I was in my Lambo, and you know when you pull onto I guess when you pass Phipps Plaza on your left and you're going straight, there's like a QT on your right if you go down a little bit. When I got to a red light, there was just some dude across the red light, like that had been walking. Yeah. He just stood there when I went forward and just wouldn't let me pass.
Just angry.
I have it on video, actually. Yeah, we have it on video. And he just said, get out of the car, I want to fight you. And I'm like, why? You know,
why?
Like, what did I do, you know?
Was Fair in the car with you?
No, she wasn't. I had another buddy with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair's, I was like sitting there thinking Fair's in the car. She's probably like, Shane, what is happening?
Yeah. So you have that. Or some people just, you know, they bash me because they say, oh, he's just some rich dude. You know, they just have this conception I'm just a bad guy, I guess. Because you
have money, therefore you're evil. Yeah. Because it is impossible to be a good human and have money.
Basically, yeah, and they don't know. I'm just doing hacks. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm hustling. I'm working hard. I mean, you have to think about it. I started in the karate business in a ballet studio where I paid $150 a month rent in a town that was like 2 or 3 red lights, which great people were there, and I really enjoyed it. And I learned a lot, and I love everyone there. But it just, you know. I slowly just stepped up every year, you know, faced my fears, even real estate. I had my friend Edwin Garcia push me to do it. Yeah. But I faced my fears, and I stayed consistent on what I'm doing. Worked hard, man, you know.
And then you still have people that are like, oh, because he hasn't and I don't. Therefore,
he was born in that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing. I think people's ego doesn't want to accept the fact that someone can also be a good person and also have nice stuff. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
What's is that like the strangest case of hate you've had for the Lambo? Is the dude blocking the road or?
That people flicking off or yeah, I think so far that's been it on like in person. Online, just people just saying things.
Those are all basement dwellers though.
Yeah,
those
that's
are
all.
Neck beards on.
I look at them sometimes. Oh my goodness, and I just
You got to go to war with them. That's what I do.
Is that what you do?
Oh, dude, it's war. You come into my comment section, we can fight about it.
Oh, people hate me more about the watch I bought, the Jacob & Co. Bugatti watch.
Really?
I'd say 90% of my comments on YouTube are all hate.
About the Jacob & Co. watch?
Yeah.
What do they say? Why do they make fun of the Jacob & Co.?
They're like, you got scammed, or you could help a lot of people, or that money could have helped me, or rich people have no class, or they just say all this crazy stuff,
Yeah.
It's wild.
I always think it's funny. It's like, oh, you should give that money away. It's like, okay, very cool. What percentage of your paycheck do you give away to the poor?
Exactly.
Oh, well, no, it's different because it's me. And then it's like, okay, well, fuck you. Yeah.
And honestly, we don't put on the internet what we do. I mean, we do a lot of charity stuff,
Yeah, but you don't have to, but you don't brag about it.
I don't like the fact of bragging that online.
That's always, is that you? Dude, if this is me again, I don't know what happened, dude. I wound up on some telemarketing list where it's like the last week I've gotten at least a dozen spam calls from the same two companies every single day. I don't know what it is, but no, that's always seemed very disingenuous to me. You have people that are like, I just donated $100,000 to charity. It's like, okay, well, are you donating to charity because you care about it, or are you donating to charity for the clout?
Exactly.
Because for the clout, that feels grimy as hell to me.
It does. So we just never put it out online, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And honestly, just to be honest with you, and not that we did it for this reason, but some of the charity that we have done has brought us like in connection with some amazing people.
There's a lot of good people that go around charity stuff. I mean, it's like you have other people that are well-to-do that also have morals, as opposed to, the people we're talking about earlier who they just look at it as like, let me scam however many people I can to get the money out of it. And you see that from like the $5,000 course guy all the way to friggin' Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yep, absolutely.
But you play around in crypto at all?
No, I tried to buy some Dogecoin, a long time ago, and I did own 3 Bitcoin, and I bought it at $3,000 or something, and I sold it at 5. Excited.
Oh no!
Now like
you were in it early.
Oh yeah,
you were in it real early, but
that's about as much as I've done.
Cool. Well, Shane, I appreciate you coming down. We're about to run out of time. I did not realize that was a little over an hour, sir.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that passed by.
Actually,
quickly.
well over an hour. It's 1:40 right now.
Wow. Well, you guys make sure to follow me on my Instagram.
I was about to say, plug your Instagram, plug your school. Well, the school SKOOL like community. Yeah, plug all that.
Yeah. So my Instagram just got deleted. The one that
Again?
I think so. So I have a backup one. It's at the Shane So. So SHANESEO. That's how you spell my name. And on school SKOOL. Come join our free community. It's Acquisition Architects, and it's all real estate. You have direct access to me and my team and all the other cool people that have joined there.
And Tim Stone.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, David. Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.